This is a video on how to remove a cast from a club foot or any type of cast with a plexiglass wrapping and a plaster casing underneath. So the supplies I use are a cup of water, a gallon size Ziploc bag or any Ziploc bag size that'll fit over the leg, an empty syringe, a washcloth, and a towel. So the first part that we'll do is remove the plexiglass wrapping, and this is kind of like a sticky duct tape, so you just find the end of it and you start unraveling, and you just unwrap it until you get it all the way off. Make sure you hold the leg in the same position so you don't torque the leg as you pull off the wrapping. You can also use a pair of scissors to cut it after you get started so you don't have to deal with the long wrap. So once you get to this part, you'll unstick this, the sock lining from the cast. So you'll just pull up on just the sock part all the way around the leg. And then you'll continue to unwrap. And this should be close to your bottom layer. Sometimes it helps to hold onto the sock while you pull the plexiglass tape, because it's very sticky. And there's the plaster part underneath. And then again, the sock is attached down here to the plexiglass, so you just have to pull it off. And there's the plexiglass wrapping. Okay. This is the plaster piece that's underneath, and hopefully the doctor has left a knot for you to start unwrapping the plaster. So what we're first going to do is soak the plaster to get it softened so it'll unwrap. So go ahead and pull the rest of the sock off the plaster. And then what I do is take the Ziploc bag and I fold the top of it in to catch the water. Put it up over the foot and wrap the cast with a washcloth to keep the moisture next to the cast. And then what we'll do is we'll pour water on it, just lukewarm to cool water, and soak the washcloth completely. And you're going to have to let it soak for about 20 minutes, well, as long as your child will stand it. And then what I also like to do is take the empty syringe and fill it full of water. And you're going to try to open the washcloth just enough to see the top part of the cast. And you're going to want to squeeze the water down in behind the plaster to try to soak it from the back side. And this just helps the process go a little bit faster. So we're just putting water down behind the plaster cast, trying to get it soaked in there. You can go all the way around the back side of the cast and keep soaking it. The more water you get on it, the easier it'll be to pull off later. And then we'll just let it soak for about 5 minutes and then we'll start back up. Okay, so we filled the bag full of water and I'm starting to check and see if the cast is soft enough to take off. And during the last 5 minutes I've been squishing the bag so the water stays up around the cast as much as possible, and continue to take the water with a syringe and put it down behind the cast in different places to try to soak it from the back side as well. But when you get to the point where you think you want to check it, you'll take the bag and the washcloth out. And you may want to do this outside or have someone hold the baby or put him in a bouncy seat to make it easier. And this knot here is what we're trying to get loose so we can start pulling it. It'll unravel just like the plexiglass part did. So you can sometimes break it off like that. If you can't, I take a pair of scissors and go like this on the plaster until you can get it to break. And you want to make sure that you keep the knot intact with the piece of plaster, because you're going to want to pull this. And the most important part about taking this off is to not lose the end of it, because it's extremely hard to find another end to pull on. So always keep your hands pretty close to the cast and pretty wide to hold on to the entire piece. And if you have trouble with it, you can always stop and soak it again before you keep going. You can use your washcloth, get some water on it. For each layer you do. And this just takes a while, so you just continue to unwrap it as you go. Soak it a little bit with the washcloth, and if you have trouble, then stop and soak it some more. Use the scissors to keep your piece kind of large. Make sure you want to keep it as wide as you can as you go around. So I've taken about a layer off. I'm going to stop and wipe it down a little bit to get it moist and make sure I don't rip it anymore. I'm going to cut myself a good piece of this off so I can continue without it dragging behind. So we soaked it just a little bit more and have been rubbing the water in with the washcloth, trying to keep your end as wide as possible. And again, make sure you hold the foot in a position where you're not turning their leg too much as you take it off. And as you get down to the sock, it gets harder to pull off from the sock. we go. Got past the heel and the sock should just pull right off. And when you take it off, look for bruising or any places where it may be yellow or if it's swollen. And sometimes the plaster is easier to clean off yourself and the baby if it's dry. So wipe the most of it off when it's dry, and then go back and clean off what you can't with a wet washcloth. That's it.